like that.
Hello, hello, hello. It is another Wednesday. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing. I misread your text about what our title was, though, and I was so ready for what I misread it to be. So I'm excited for what it is, though. So I'm
What did
excited.
you think it was?
I think
Did you miss the graduating part and you thought we were going to talk about actual seniors?
no. I just stopped at the leadership because I was going to talk about something that I think we kind of covered, but not on an aspect of where I was going to go with it. Because you just put leadership on there, and I've ran into this week I've run into one of those very poor management styles where they are, this is my title and you don't have it. So I need you to, so you need to do what I say, even though you're a great employee and you manage your own and you don't need micromanaged. I'm still the assistant. No. So I just stopped. I saw leadership and I was like, yep, let's talk about it. But I totally love your idea because it's a lot less of a bitter conversation, right?
Yes. And I think that, why don't you write that topic down? Because I think we could do a whole episode at some point of that type of thing where this is my title and you have to listen because I have a title. But I also have some stories recently of, well, that's not my title. So I'm not going to help you with that because that's not my job. And I think we need to have maybe a two-sided conversation where we're like, okay, every once in a while you have to help people, right? Whether it's your job or not, because you have to get the business, the job, the whatever, we need to move forward. Right.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think people should take on two jobs when for long term, but sometimes if somebody's sick, you just got to pitch in. Can we just pitch in and act like normal humans? But that is not our title, our topic today.
Your topic is much less bitter.
Yes, my topic is a little lighter. It's a little self-deprecating. So we'll get into that in a second. But it's more self-deprecating, funny than anything. So the topic today is around leadership and career advice for graduating high school seniors. I want to clarify high school seniors because apparently when you said you read it wrong, I was like, did you really think I was talking about seniors? Like boomers or whatever? And I was like, that's kind of weird. Career advice for them.
But here's the thing, though, is when we were talking, I saw that I heard that evolution of that conversation between here you are as a senior in high school, here you are as a senior getting your doctorate, here you are as a senior with gray hair that is bored. What can you do? So I definitely think we're going to go across that spectrum for sure.
Well, we will, because my household has, yes. And my household has a little bit of all of it, right? So my, and that's how this topic came up. So my youngest is graduating from high school. May is going to be stupid because, and I know that I had this when I graduated, your son's senior year, my son's senior year, right? I have, kids that are older, went through this a few times. That last month is pointless for school. I don't even know why they say don't bother going to class because it's a pep rally for this, a lunch for that. He has a freaking brunch one day next week. A brunch. High school brunch. I never had a high school brunch. We're getting bougie down in high school too. There's nighttime things, there's senior nights, there's this, there's that, there's an awards thing, I don't even freaking know. And so all these things happening. But part of it is, and what I want to get to is not you should go to college or you should go to trade school or you should get a job. I don't want those advice. I mean, we can talk about that a little if you want. But my business, one of my taglines, my main tagline is do better, be better, and go off the beaten path, right? And I think I want to focus a little bit on that. How can graduating seniors go into the world, do better than the people that came before them, be better than the people that came before them, and forge their own path? What are your first thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think really all of that comes with choice, right? And it comes with what am I choosing to do? And one of the biggest things as parents, when you're looking at be better, right? Do better, you want them to have it to where when they're done, they can survive and do more than survive because we've all survived, right? We survived.
And survive
We,
without us. Let's
right,
clarify. I want to be
exactly.
very clear to who's ever watching.
Right.
Survive without us, like survive on their own. Right.
So whether that's a you get a trade, you go to college, you do, a lot
Get a
of
job.
different things,
Mhm.
getting a job, getting 2 jobs, what does that look like for that individual to feel like they have accomplished a little bit more than their parents, right? And
Mhm.
as parents, to not belittle what they feel is their accomplishment. If this is where they want to go, but it's not the doctor route that stringently made them be a straight A kid so that they could go to, Ivy League schools, but they chose to go be an artist, that is them being the best them, right? And sometimes we think that the best and the be better and all of those things are the paychecks and all of this stuff like that. And in reality, it's really that I don't have to struggle as a human being, right? I don't have to fight all of these grades, or I do want to fight all these grades and I do want to become, the biggest doctor that I can be, or hey, that doesn't suit who I am as a person, so I'm gonna find my artsy side and I'm gonna go live on a commune. Like, don't go cult. Don't
Right.
go cult. But
But commune is fine.
commune's
Yes.
fine. Everybody's doing a little bit and they're all working together and you can leave freely. Great.
That was a tangent I had not anticipated going down. The clarification between cult and commune. All right, but if you don't know, please Google it because we're not going to give our personal definitions because I do fear that there will be people that are like, wait, I'm in a cult? I didn't even know. Okay, so if you're unsure, Google it yourself, okay? Um, but but yes, I think one of the first things that I would say to seniors or parents of seniors for that matter is um, find passion and know that you're good. And okay, here, let me get this. Let me clarify. So, like, if your kid is saying, "I don't want to go to college, I just want to get a job," all right, that's fine. They may not find their passion at their first job, and I'm going to use a job that we both just talked about before the call. Your passion may not be working at Lowe's. Okay. But Lowe's pays your bills, and Lowe's then will allow you to have your passions on the side.
Yep.
Right. And then eventually, maybe if you are like that artist on the side and that's what you want to be while Lowe's is paying your bills, eventually, then maybe you become that graphic artist, right? You become that whatever artist type of thing you want to be. And you eventually have shows at the Met, right? And your art is just, being sold for $100,000 pop, right? So from a piece of advice to parents is don't force your children to do something they don't want to do. I was when I was in school and high school, the majority of my family were all in education, either teachers or principals. And basically, I was raised to be like, if you aren't a teacher or principal, or I lived in Michigan, part of a union, you weren't in a real job. So I went to college, and my first year and a half, I was going to be a teacher. I was going to teach English literature. I loved to read. This was going to be great. And then I found out that, like, you have to deal with children all day long in your job for 20 plus years. And then I decided that was not for me. But I would have never wasted a year and a half doing that. You get my point? Were your parents, and this is not about throwing parents under the bus. My mom has passed, so I can't throw her under the bus. She's probably up there laughing that I'm complaining about it. But did your parents push you to do anything or family push you to do anything after graduation?
No, I got pregnant.
I don't even, I've never done the math. How old were you when you got pregnant? Do you mind if I ask?
Yeah,
On live on.
so I was 19. So when
Oh, okay. So sure.
Charlie was born, and then I turned 20. So I
Got it.
was, yeah. But here's the thing, right? Is my parents are blue collar. My mom has worked in parts for Napa and CarQuest. She started at CarQuest, went to Napa, and now is running $1 million parts house in Ford in a small town.
Sure.
And she's making so much, like she makes so much whatever. So she's
But she also
doing
likes
really
what she does
well.
now, right?
Right. She's good at
Sure.
what she does. And when I was younger, she was a pharmacist and she was, she was a pharmacist tech and she bounced from job to job. She waitressed from the age of 14. And so when I became 14, I waitressed. It was kind of just the thing. So, in our house, it was you work. Um, whether
Sure.
school's involved or not, you work. And my mom was very much on the, try to get good grades and stuff. But at the same time, I wasn't an academic child.
Okay.
So I managed to like run the D's and the C's in school, and and that was kind of what I did. So my family wasn't academic based as much as they were um, more focused on that quality of life and making sure that you work and you have to work hard. Would my mom have preferred that I went to college and did all the things? Yes. And the same thing with my kid. Like I even told my kid, while you're in high school, do your generals because high school will pay for your generals. And
Oh
at
yeah.
least if you have high school pay for your generals, then you at least have a ground for if you decide to go to college, you can get a year off. You don't have to pay for that year, right? And so there was that expectation of get a little bit of college just because going to accounting class, going to some of the classes that colleges don't or that high schools don't offer allows you a little foundation. And my kid's not big on that idea either, so it
But
kind of go for it.
by saying that, when you said he's not keen on that idea, this is where I say, like, either take those classes from college classes in high school or start out at a community college. Yay, community colleges, and I'll boost
Yep.
them as much as I can, because you can figure out if you like college or if you like the topic, if you like anything about it, for either free or flippin' cheap. Right? Community colleges are like $100 to $300 a credit hour, right? You don't even want to know what I'm spending on a credit hour right now for my doctorate. Okay. I cry when I look at the number. Don't look at the number, right? Like, and so it's one of those things though, but like as a high school student right now, or if you're just thinking about graduating, if you have the choice, start those community college credits now. Take that math class, take that English class when you have the support and the whatever of the high school you're in or of your family when you just graduate. It's a lot easier. It makes things way different.
Yep, exactly.
That is really good advice. So
and like you said, you can take a computer class. Do I like
Mhm.
coding? No, I don't like coding. You can take
Right.
accounting. Do I like accounting? I loved accounting, but then my second year they went into ethics, and their version of ethics was Enron. And I was like, if your version of ethics is to teach me how to do it and get away with it the wrong way, I don't want to learn it. So I
Sure.
figured out that I do better with the sit down and do the numbers courses than I do with the like what's the history and what's the like quote unquote ethic courses. And you get to learn a lot about yourself by just
Mhm.
testing out the different classes, like you were saying.
Yeah, and And around that, right? Like that's where you learn, okay, so I like the accounting courses, but not the writing courses that go with being an accountant or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
then you're like, well, I don't need an associate's degree. I want to be an accountant. I can get a certificate. Do you get my
Yeah,
point?
exactly.
Like there's so many ways to get what you want out of life that it's not always that 4-year degree at a state university.
Yeah.
It does not have to be there. And this is funny coming from me, considering I have done almost every education you possibly could get, right? So like, but it's not the answer to everyone, right? So my partner, somebody in his family, has started like an HVAC company, and now a couple other people in the family work for it, and others that are like coming up, like graduating in the next few years, are deciding if they want to be part of that. HVAC isn't going away anytime soon. It might get a little more fancy, right? Like I can turn on my heat with my phone, but the actual tangible parts of the heating and cooling system are still going to be there, right? Those still need to be fixed. They still need to be installed. They still need to be this, that, and the third. I don't know all the details. That's why these people need to keep getting their jobs, because I need them to come fix it when it breaks. But you see my point. Like that takes, for lack of a better term, zero formal education. It's apprenticeship.
Yep.
Right? It's a different type of education. You're like, this is what I want to do, and I'm willing to be paid peanuts for the next 2 years, enough to live most of the time. And I'm going to get paid peanuts in order to make good money on the back end. Right?
Exactly.
But you won't have loans. Oh my gosh. And you'll have a great job at the end. Hey, Sophia, I see you over there. Sorry about that. I just saw you say hello. Hello to the other 4 people watching, or 3 people watching. But yeah.
And one of those, like you said, when you start a family business, being able to find family members who are struggling and just, hey, I know you're struggling right now. Why don't you help me with this, right? And let them help them get them off their feet. Or experience something that they wouldn't have experienced otherwise. And that's one of the great things about being an entrepreneur is you have that ability inside your business of giving bits and pieces to younger kids and younger people to experience what does this look like.
Yeah. Well, and also I think that that's a good piece of advice for any entrepreneur out there. So here's the thing. You can't necessarily have internships without the proper paperwork, this, that, and the third. But especially when it comes to family, right? If you are an entrepreneur and you have a family member that is unemployed for any reason, right? Bringing them onto your company to give them just a little bit more experience, bringing them onto, you know what I mean? And they're helping the company business, the family business. You are truly giving them that filler for a break in their resume, right?
Yep.
So, hey, you were laid off from your company. What have you been doing? Oh, I've been helping the family business. Every day I go in and do X, Y, and Z, right? And that truly can help that resume block also, that gap in a resume that we all worry about. And with so many companies laying off, there were another 100,000 this last week from different companies. So
that really brings me to another one of those topics, though, around when you're graduating and what you're looking at with that downtime, or there are so many ways that you can volunteer for things. There's so many ways that you can walk in and say, hey, can I help you? There's a lot of organizations out there like the Red Cross and other smaller ones that are local, the food bank, where you could go in and say, hey, I need volunteer hours. And they can run you through quite a few gambits, especially as an organization like that. And that's another way to experience stuff. And maybe, even if you're living at home and you're, trying to figure stuff out, you might have that freedom to just go run some volunteer hours and get those ideas for yourself.
well,
Um,
And I 100% agree. As you know, most of my background was in nonprofit work. And so I tell parents this all the time. Children emulate what you do, they'll mimic what you do. And so if parents are listening right now and you have somebody in middle school or upcoming into high school, start volunteering with them, right? Start volunteering and take them with you. And I don't know if my oldest daughter is listening, but I used to drag her all the time. And at first it was probably kicking and screaming. Okay. But eventually she loved it. And now she is so involved with volunteering at her church, in the community, doing things that it's part of her lifestyle, right? Now, I'm not going to take all the credit for that, but my point is that it gives experiences that you may not get in other ways. And so, yeah, as a senior, if you don't have the parents' involvement in that aspect of volunteering, it looks great on resumes in the future. Whether you go to college or not, that volunteering will look huge on a resume.
Yeah. So I think and it helps you build that leadership because
Mhm.
this kind of touches back to well, I'm a manager and I tell you what to do.
Oh,
It
yeah.
kind of goes back to that area of when you start working, you might not have that work history, but you have that volunteer history of I did do things. I
Right.
was a part of the community. I did work with other people. I do have a history of work, whether it's not necessarily a job, but I did do things that required me to work alongside other people,
Be
required
there on
me
time,
to
all
be
that.
there.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're volunteering, you're there for somebody.
Mhm.
And that's a lot different than I'm there to pay my bills, or I'm there to be the boss, or I'm there for XYZ. Yes, you might be there for your college resume. Yes, you might be there, but when you're volunteering, you're there because you're working for the VA and there's veterans that need assistance. You're working for the Red Cross and somebody's house burned down. You're, building a house for the housing. What's the house
Habitat,
name?
Habitat
Habitat
for
for
Humanity.
Humanity. So when you're doing those kind of things, now it's not so much but helping you, helping the community. And that gives you a different sense of work. And one of the things that you and I talk about all the time, Sarah, is when we're working, we always work like we own the place, right?
Mhm.
We take our job to the next level because that's how we want to represent ourselves. And so the more you know what you want to do and the more you try different avenues, the more you know how and where you fit in the best. And that allows you to walk into a scenario and know it from most of the angles.
So I think the goal was to talk about advice for graduating seniors, and I think we did that. But I think the first thing was just want to recap to make sure what we all talked about here. So the first thing was um, if you haven't already made the decision of where you're going to college, or if you're still in high school, start out at a community college. And this is not dissing anyone who went to university. I did. I have the shirt. Look, I didn't even realize. I have the sweatshirt to prove it. Okay. So I didn't even plan that today. But it isn't for everybody, right? It isn't. So start out to see what you like, what you don't like. We also make sure you're following a passion. A job can pay for the passion, but test out different things to find out what you're going to like doing for a little while. This doesn't mean your 20-year career path. My God, I haven't stayed in one job for more than 5 or 6 years. But find something that you can do for a while and still be passionate and love what you're doing. And don't be like me and cry when you go into a job. I had one job that I cried in the parking lot every day before it, and I
You
vowed
told
never
us
to
that
do that
story.
again. Yeah, I promised to never do that again. And Brittany, you've had jobs that you've hated too, that you're just like, I will never do. I don't care if somebody tells me they're going to pay me $1 million a year. I can't do it because my internal stress levels cannot handle it. What
Yep,
was the last thing
exactly.
we talked about?
The last thing we talked about was, that volunteering
Oh,
and
yeah.
those doing different things, whether it's volunteering or working for family or, but finding different
the unpaid positions if you can't find the paid positions right away. Yeah. Yes. So I think that in general, those are some pretty good advices.
Yeah, I think we did really good. I honestly, guys, we didn't cover everything that could have been covered.
We only have 30 minutes and we're at 25 and a half of them. Yeah. But I do realize I said advices. I think it's pieces of advice. I don't think advices is a real word.
No, but I like it. I'll take it.
I was told yesterday that I make up words. I do occasionally.
You and I don't know.
Have you ever heard of wackadoodle before you met me?
Yeah, no, I know wackadoodle. That's like that wackadoodle is probably a 50s term. If I Google
it, I thought my mom used to say it, and that's what I told somebody yesterday. I'm like, no, my mom used to say that. But now I'm thinking like
it's even a brewing company. No, wackadoodle is a conspiracy theory. It's absurd, unconventional. But what decade did it come from?
I don't know. You're looking it up. She's Googling, everyone.
Early 90s, of course. So
okay.
This is
wait. It's been 30 years.
Right, but it's saying like the 1930s to the 60s is wacky or wacko, and then doodle came up, and then the 90s made it
all together, wackadoodle.
Yeah.
Okay. But I do tend to make up words, especially when I can't think of something. Like if I can't think of what the tangible thing is, it's just a doohickey, and I know that's a legit word. I think that's actually in the dictionary, but yeah, somebody told me the other day, actually yesterday, that I make up words.
I do it too. I think both you and I do it. But also, when you're talking, it just sounds better.
Well, it sounds better than saying right? So like early in the conversation, you couldn't remember what habitat was. And so I would be like, if I had that, like I have a brain fart, I'm like, the place that builds houses for free for people. And like, you sound like an idiot, right? And so like, then you're like, well, I'll just make up a word. You know, those people that build those doohickeys that people live in. Right? Like, I don't know. Oh, you have a friend.
Well, I tried, but she's too low. Her seat is too low. We'll have to get her a higher seat.
Okay.
But this is Lila.
Wonderful.
She's visiting. But yeah, I think wackadoodle, and yeah, other words, we use them all the time. I know that we do. But anyway.
All right. We are almost to the end of our 30 minutes, and I think everybody knows who we are, but my name is Sarah, and I'm with Off the Beaten Path Consulting, and I help small, medium-sized companies with their HR and leadership processes and policies, and I help managers go from management to leadership. What do you do?
I am Brittany. I am with BizStorming. I'm an accountability coach and consultant. I really help business owners who are tornadoes in a bottle. They know where they want to go. They just can't quite get there. So I help them align with their businesses, build their foundations, and get where they're going, whether it's through support with tech or with assistance from other people. We get you where you want to go. And I help you align so that you can do the work yourself as well.
Sounds wonderful. So we had at one point 6 people watching us. We are now down to 3. Hopefully Sophia made it all the way through. Yeah, it's early afternoon for her. Psh, she's good. Usually I'm worried about keeping her awake, but it's early afternoon in Sweden. So, all right. We will see everyone next week, Wednesday. All right.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
1 2 1 2, need my attitude. 3 4 3 4, check my latitude.